just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart. Yeah, I won't stop charging, you go and come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
1 shot, 1 kill.
Okay. Yeah, good thing I don't stream comp. No kidding. No, it's not that great for gaming and streaming because I play on a gaming laptop, so it doesn't really love handling all that. Especially, like, it can handle Discord while streaming pretty well, or Discord while gaming pretty well, if it's not on a second monitor, but it doesn't love streaming well anything. I mean, it's not a big deal, since like streaming is mostly just kind of a side thing for me. Keep my knife sharp. Let me grab the replay code and then I'll hop in on it. Let me know if the music is too loud compared to my voice, or if my voice is too loud, because I've had issues with that in the past. Awesome. And no, it's a new, like, 3,000-ish SR team that I hopped in on just recently. That it's like a new project team. Craig is our chosen main tank team captain, who's in the chat here, and we just did some trials and stuff because a dude basically on Spylo's server just DM'd me and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in teaching this?" And I'm like, sure. So I figure I'll give it a shot because I've been wanting to step into coaching, work my way up for a while. Kind of an org. It's complicated. Like it's like, I guess we're trying to start up an org, kind of. It's an interesting project to say the least. Hey Tsuki. Okay, so we're looking at Geomaster's Pharah here. And I wonder if I have an idea here. Let me try something. Okay, so I have a way. So I found a way to boost my FPS by just minimizing my Streamlabs. I'm gonna open up my Twitch on my phone so I can still see everyone in chat here. So, one moment. We do budget work here. Beggars can't be choosers after all. Okay. Cool. Okay. So with Pharah, the basic idea is that she is a spam hero, so you're gonna be looking for the long-range spam angles. I know you know a lot about this, Geo, because Spylo has probably bashed it into your head over and over again, at least multiple times, so I'm not gonna go too in depth unless you really desire it. But awesome, good to hear. Yeah, I'll let you know if we need org stuff. But yeah, so spam hero, some dive capabilities, but basically spam. So I'm gonna look at how you take angles here, because I remember from a text review in the Ask the Community chat that you had issues with the effectiveness of the angles. So we'll see how that jives. In your comp, you do have the Mercy, so that's good support. As long as you have like a Mercy Zen or Brig, you're in a pretty good spot on Pharah. It's a little awkward with the Brawl line, so what I'm guessing that you're going to have to do is the Brawl line is probably going to retreat back to here, and you'll probably be wanting to play around here on Pharah and controlling this flank, or maybe above here, but it's a little harder with their nerfed jets to suspend above this building. Because basically you're just looking for an angle that can complement and contain enemy pressure from getting past your Brawl core. And of course, as always, let me know if you have any questions at any point. Mercy moment. Early ult charge, I like it. This is when I would recommend starting to rotate. Yeah, rotate back, rotate back, rotate back. This is a little greedy. It's not a major issue. Oh yeah, I think this is 2800, I think Gio said. It's not terrible, but it's a little greedy just because you're in the main sightline of pressure. So like they're gonna be shooting your shield, they're gonna be shooting everybody on the high ground. So when they have the Ana and the soldier, that's like, there's actually a decent amount of burst potential that can come in there. So you have to be really scared of that, frankly. Like, you could spam more if you were up here, because then if they were shooting you, you know that they're shooting you, and then it frees up your soldier to spam instead. But because you're both stacked, it's like a little riskier here. Okay, nice, you transition into the angle. Beautiful. Not really necessary. You going close on the Doom isn't actually that useful, because now what happens is you don't have your key mobility options, and you're not set up on your angle here for when your team is moving. And we'll see how this shakes out. Maybe it actually isn't as much of an issue as I thought, but your Rhine is a bot. You probably need to be doing something to help him. Never mind, he helped himself. That's fine. I would commit to trying to force him out. Nice. This is fine, but be careful because you're not. Okay, I was gonna say that you're not realistically gonna confirm a kill here. You do, so good on you. But be careful in situations like this where it's like, unless you actually think you can get the kill, it's not usually worth threatening yourself because like the relative value is pretty low. Nice boob. So far there hasn't been too much. It's not like flawless and like your movement is like a little clunky, but good pressure on Doom. This is really dangerous positioning. You weren't by any vertical cover here, and your mercy isn't tied to you that closely. So like if you're playing up here and here alone, that's actually really scary because here you actually don't have much cover. That's like why it's kind of dangerous when there's dive threats on the enemy team too. Is that if like a monkey jumps on you, you have relatively little cover to like juke him out and get away. So I think if you're playing back here, it's a little more acceptable because then you have that path I used earlier to concussive blast down the stairs. But like this diva is gonna, yeah, they can put in some work there. It's kind of scary. You don't actually need to go for this aggressive spam as much here because you have your ult up and they aren't actually committing to the fight yet. I mean, yeah, you might get the stagger, but I'm scared that you're gonna get caught out of position or something when they actually commit. They haven't yet because they're bots, but nice midair. I don't really like your positioning that much, but that was a good barrage though. That was really good follow-up. You can just toss it into my VOD review chat. I have like a replay submission chat in my Discord. There's technically a format that you're supposed to follow, but really no one follows it, including myself, just because I don't, like, it's not, I don't get enough VODs for it to like matter significantly. I just kind of do it as like on the side, so I'd rather let Spylo do the heavy lifting on VOD reviewing. But mine are free. My guess is Soldier goes for... Oh, never mind. They swapped off Soldier onto the Crete, right. Then I'm going to try and make a prediction here. Your Reinhardt... No. Your Ana dies to bomb. That's going to be my prediction on how you lose this team fight. I personally prefer replay codes. There is like the slight issue of them expiring. There have been several that have expired on me. And I mean, I would hope that no one would be too mad about it because it's a free VOD and they can always resubmit a new one. And I try to keep up to date on them. I haven't been able to stream once a week like I usually do, just because of work and classes and stuff. But you can toss in a video too if you want, like as extra safeguard. I prefer close losses, but really I've reviewed everything. Like if you steamroll an enemy team, obviously that's useless to me. But and if you're getting steamrolled, you can submit it, but it might just be me saying, "Wow, your teammates really sucked," or "Wow, you had some critical misunderstanding," and nothing else. Oh, okay, so she died to Doom. So now is when you have to go into clutch mode, because your Ana is there, you are out of position. Because note that now you have no cover. I'll go back into this fight and take a closer look at your cover, Geo, but like if you were here, this would be zero problem, and you could actually flank around here and just pummel their backline in that graph. So here you're kind of seeing that because you have like this really safe-ish, not except ironically not safe, but this really conservative positioning in main, you're actually under more threat and less able to clutch. So we'll see how this goes out and then rewatch it again from overhead. So you do manage to follow up on the grab, that's good. Yeah, I'll probably be going through it a little faster, but my schedule is non-existent-ish. It might be better to submit one later after Tuesday to make sure that it doesn't expire unless you really want it done, and then I can do it quickly tonight. But so anyways, the fight right from above. So where's the Ana dying to the Doomfist? So you are up here. Let's say you stay over here. Let's like pretend that we are the Pharaoh. So I hear that my team is fighting. I peek a little, shoot a little, kind of just mess around. Fly up here, shoot a bit, shoot, back off because D.Va's coming after me. Now I'm right here. I jet up. I'm looking, don't see anything. I drop back down. Maybe I'm poking a little through main here or something. Now I jet around. I'm pummeling this Ana. I land the kill. I land the kill on the Kree. I land the kill on the D.Va that you got already. And then I'm now pummeling the Mercy and the Ana again. Yeah, I'm double killing the Ana. Like, you could get just as much work done from playing on this side angle, Geo, as you did over here, but without like all that like threat that you had. Because here you had to dodge the Deadeye, you had to dodge the D.Va bomb by playing by the cart. You were directly in line of fire of their engage. Like, you just have a lot more freedom over here. Does that make sense? Yeah, you are more exposed. Like, that's why I said, like, their D.Va definitely would have come up for you another time here. But here's the thing, you don't actually always have to be doing things on the side angle, right? Because, like, note how a lot of that, when I was just, like, pretending to be you, I was just, like, I was saying I was coming over here, looking, and just going away. Not even, like, staying and shooting. Because if there's pressure, I don't have to actually go there. They know I'm here, and they might have to send their D.Va up, but if I just go back to here and get healed by the Mercy, who was looking at you around here, say okay. And then as soon as there's no pressure here, you just come right back. Because then as soon as they're not paying you that proper respect and like actually damaging you, you can just go all in on damaging them. Like, exposed positions are only dangerous when the enemy team can afford to put the pressure on you. I know that's kind of a hot take, but like on Tracer, for example, you can take all the open duels, like you can duel in open space if you want, if there's no other enemy pressure on you. Or on Widow, if their sniper isn't looking at you and you know you can land the shot, frankly, it doesn't matter if you're standing in the middle of the road. This is an overgeneralization, but you can afford to be really aggressive if they're not giving you the respect that you deserve. And while here they were, like to some extent, like the D.Va is checking you at moments and stuff, but as soon as they commit to here and your team is putting heavy pressure on, I think you could have gone in more aggro here. We'll see if something like that happens again, but kind of weird jump jet. I didn't feel like you needed to jump jet there, but because like that's not actually that useful of a damage angle from the small spot there. So now you're kind of chilling. Oh, so this is when the Doom killed. Okay. So this was the fight, yeah, where you still could have done all that stuff up here. So there actually is 2 fights. So my point is, you could have done basically anything from the side angle there. Like, you can play very independently as fair, and I feel like you're not leveraging that right now. You're just playing above your team. This is what I expect. I expect that you should be able to full hold this, so now I'm curious what happens. Maybe their Reinhardt lands a Shatter. Yeah, their Doom must land and engage, and the Rein lands with the Shatter. So you say that you're feeling more exposed on the side angle, but look where you are in main. Is this not exposed? And is this not less exposed with this tall vertical cover? Like, I think you feel safer, but when you're looking at the actual theory behind it, you're actually in a lot more danger sitting there in main. Because now here, imagine, so what if they do come after you, right? Even without your mercy, the McCree comes over here, starts shooting at you. He might land even a body shot, but then you back up, he comes over here, you're already down here grabbing the health pack and jetting up to here. He's either up here trying to duel you out of range of the flashbang. No. So that's the thing, is you're actually, it's like Spylo says, pressure is peeling. Like, this concept applies to the DPS too. So if you are here, and like back here, if the enemy team is committing resources to kill you, that means your team is free. Like, if this, like your Rein would be able to go really aggro, because the Kree and D.Va wouldn't be pressuring him. Zarya would be super free. Mercy would be completely free for, I don't know, battle mercying or something. And yes, you might die if the D.Va and Kree get on you really fast, but you can actually get out of here a lot faster than they can get to you, like with the power of the Concussive Blast. So you can even just keep backing up and do nothing, and I guarantee you that you'd be able to just sit here and shoot their Ana, and they cannot dedicate the resources fast enough to commit to stopping you. And if they do, that's a drastic amount of resources taken away from the front line. I don't know if I have replays that can illustrate this, but I'll check in a bit. Yeah, we have late night burbs hanging out here. So how did the team actually end up losing the fight, though? Oh yeah, Doom engage, okay. So some dude just had Pepega positioning, basically. That was the fight you wanted to win, though. Frankly, the enemy team should not have been able to win that. They invested only Nano and Doomel, while your team had, I think you had Barrage that fight, and I think you had at least one other ult. And you had dramatic positioning advantage. They shouldn't have been able to even break that choke without a McCree going up to this high ground. Because, like, think about it. They are coming in through main, but because all of your pressure is just in main, you're not leveraging the map at all. They can just match your pressure in main and just do stupid stuff and they get free low. Like the way you're playing has 0 clutch value. Like, you're not playing to win in a way. See, like, you're sitting here spamming into a Rein shield. See, and then as soon as you get a little vertical, now you're on the Kree. Like, here, even, like, this is technically an angle, and I expect that you'll take it at some point, because this is, like, a very intuitive one. But see, this is the thing, is if the Doom flanked behind, it wouldn't even matter, because like if you had gotten 2 kills in their backline too is kind of the mentality. I know that's like a hot expectation, and I don't really expect it, but my point is, you can actually get a lot more value out of it than you are. Like, you're getting a very passive value out of Pharah right now, just like her general damage in the general direction of the enemy team. You're looking at the Reinhardt behind you. You know that there's a Mercy and Kree here. Are these not more dangerous to you? Rip Suki. Like, I think your Reinhardt can handle the antied Reinhardt alone pretty well. I would be much more concerned about these. Yeah, so you could have killed her. And now you're still looking at her instead of the McCree who's shooting alone in main. This is nice. That's a good angle. This is good. See, look, you're on the angle. You're safer. You can dodge the high noon easily and stuff. The Mercy can easily pocket you. And yeah, it's like it's an angle aligned with your team, but it's not bad. Now now you're spamming into Ryan Shield again. This, good. Oh, that's an unlucky bomb. This point is really hard for Pharah for that reason. Like, she's not bad on this point, but there's a lot less vertical cover. Like here, if you play around this tower, you can basically always dodge a Diva Bomb. But here, like, Diva Bomb is really strong against Farm Mercy, for obvious reasons. So I don't really know if there's anything you could have done about that. You could have played around this tower, but this is like a really passive angle if the enemy team is over here. Like, it's basically non-existent angle. You'd have to wait for them to push into here, and your team isn't coordinated enough to do that on ladder. The only option would have been if you're all the way like around here flanking, but that's like a really, really, really aggressive angle. So don't blame yourself on that one. Diva bombs are just a pain in the butt on Pharah if you don't have vertical cover options. Yeah, just go for the regroup. Good escape. You're playing way too forward, man. I don't know what you were thinking there. You should have just concussive blasted back. I think you had it up. Let's see. Yeah, like, I don't know why you kept moving forwards here. Like, you're getting so greedy for kills when it's just you and on Mercy for all you know. You didn't actually even know your Zarya was there, I guarantee it. Because I didn't, and I mean, maybe you're more aware than I am, but that's... Yeah, either way, the one Zarya is still at a disadvantage. Like, you move back in to, like, do aggro stuff, you need to just be getting out of there, man. Like, this isn't even a team fight. This is just pray that you can avoid getting staggered. And you would have had your concussive blast right now. If you hadn't jump jetted and you had been back here, you would have been out of range for D.Va to eat it, and you could have conked way back to here where you're completely safe. Except maybe to a McCree ult, but then you can just duck into here or whatever. And he doesn't have ult. And he's probably not going to land the consecutive ranged headshots. Not worth it, man. Prioritize yourself first. Even in, like, if a teammate is doing a stupid thing alone, you don't do the stupid thing with them. If your full team is able to do the stupid thing with them, then you do it. Like, if everybody is right here and ready to go in, and the Zarya is, like, pressuring and stuff, then you go in. But, no, you're just, like, now the whole team is, it's gonna have even less of a chance of a grouped up fight. Because at least you could have taken a 5 versus 6 here. Actually, it would have been a 5 versus 5 because Verano's on point. And that's winnable. But as soon as you go down, that's such a huge pressure source gone. I don't know why you're here and not here. Because like you're shooting here, but they have a Rhine shield and a Diva Matrix dedicated only to this spot. And you're not seeing any squishies. You can't shoot their Ana. You're not going to reliably hit their Doomfist. Here, you have deep sight lines onto their Ana. Yeah, she might poke you, but you can just use this vertical cover right here. You force the Diva to direct Matrix away from your team, so your Kree can land shots. And it's not the right attitude to have. Because the whole point is, yes, they will block it, but that means they're not dedicating those resources in main. If that Rhine wants to dedicate his shield to main, he cannot also dedicate it here. And imagine if he holds it at an angle here, then he can't go any further, right? Because then he eventually is going to have to move up to actually push the cart or push into your enemy team. And by then his shield is so broken from 2 angles of spam that it's going to go down. You have to take that risk, man. Yes, you are more likely to get shot at, but the point is that you are making plays. You are doing something. What are you doing where you are? Like, what are you actually accomplishing? There's no likely targets to kill here. That's fine, man. Take the risk and die every time. That's okay. Like, this is like the situation where it's like, you'll never surpass your limits if you don't try to, like, at all. You'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Like, I get where you're at. I was at it at a very similar spot with Zarya, and I think with my Pharah at a similar point too. I think probably my Echo too, and my Tracer. So I've been in, like, the same case in a bunch of times where I end up playing, like, really conservatively because I was getting toasted on flanks and angles. And the problem is that while you can hold the quota, you'll never be able to pass that 50% win rate, like, ever. Because you'll never have enough direct influence on a fight to win it, like, decisively. Like, you can't take it into your own hands when you're sitting in main away from the targets. Like, because if you're here, let's say the Diva is matrixing you. That's fine. Because that means that she's not matrixing your Kree. Let's say that the Ana starts shooting you. That's fine. That means she's not shooting your Reinhardt and your Diva, or not shooting her Reinhardt and Diva for 2 seconds. And even 2 seconds can make a world of difference. And you can survive enough shots, like 2 shots, and just duck back to cover easily. So my guess is what's happening is you probably don't have very good corner discipline when you are taking the flanks. And you, like, overstay or welcome and get roasted. Or no, that's probably what's happening. So something I would like you to do is in this next week, actually, if possible, I would like you to try and just play a game taking every single angle that you can. Some of them can be completely feeding stupid angles. Some of them can be just, like, conservative vertical angles and stuff. But I just never want you on top of your team. And I would like to see a replay of how that goes. It can be a complete loss even. Like, I don't care. But we can diagnose the problem from there. But if you don't take these risks, you'll never figure out how to do it correctly. I guarantee it. Good barrage. See? Like, you get stunned and because you went for the aggressive angle up and exposed, but you did something. You got the barrage angle. If you had stayed back here, you might have not been able to get stunned, and you might have been, like, protected by someone or something, but you got something done. It's okay if you die or get damaged if you're making enough value to make up for it. And eventually you'll learn how to not die while doing it. Right here, I really, really want you to jump jet up and just flip the side here and go really aggressive on their backline. Because you could definitely kill the Ana in 1 shot. You can definitely kill the Rhine in 2. And before their team can come and regroup. Instead, you go straight through, take a lot more damage. Still worked at least. That's my point. Exactly. If you barrage anywhere else, you'll get no value with it. So that's the same with her normal play. If you play her anywhere else except on the angles, you will get no value with it. It's like that was a good barrage. My point is just, like, I'm seeing this over and over that you're so afraid. And I think that's, like, it's okay to have a healthy dose of caution. But, yeah, no, yeah, that was fine. Like, but the problem is you could have also just concussive blast from here and barraged in the same spot. Or if you went, like, really aggro over here, you could have just shot from behind. Or, like, there's other options. I'm not critiquing that, but I'm just trying to illustrate that as soon as you get on the, like, angle to do things, you do things. Like, your positioning is so non-aggro. Yeah. Suki's, like, right on the margin with that. It's like, this is what I would consider over-aggression, potentially. But it's fine. You're getting out. You did a lot of damage to D.Va. You got some ult charge. And now you're on an aggressive angle where you can do things. You could actually just stay here until McCree starts shooting you and just drop down, because then you could land a couple more shots on Ana, but this is fine too. This is not fine, because... Actually, no, this is fine too. This is fine. D.Va's up here pressuring you. Her team isn't actually ready yet. You're burning her resources. And look, she feeds. Clean up the D.Va, clean up the D.Va. Oh, is she out of mech? No. Yeah, you could have probably gone in for the kill there, but... Man, I hate to say it, you are going to get blamed for throwing, regardless of the hero you play, if you want to play it in an impactful fashion. Like, I probably looked like I was throwing 1,000 times on Tracer when not trying to learn that flank Reinhardt style as to imitate LH Cloudy. I fed my brains out. As Sigma, going on constant flanks, people constantly ask me to get back in main and play safe. Eventually you learn how to do it without dying, but you can't learn how to do it without dying, ironically, because you can't know where your limits are if you never push yourself to those limits. So, like, what's stopping you from going to right here and shooting the Mercy? Yeah, the McCree's still using his Deadeye, but if you just, like, hover right above this barrier, you could at least check it out. I don't think he has full load on you. Nice, see? Look at this. Look at this. D.Va turned to look at you. That meant that your Kree wasn't getting put there. You probably got some of their attention in main. Let's see. I actually want to take a look at this. Where was their Ryan's attention? Was he dead? Out of curiosity. He was dead. I want to see where the shatter comes in here. Ryan charges in stupidly. You get the pick on the Ana because you're on the aggressive angle. Or because you're yeah, because you're on the aggressive angle. So, like, even in this fight too. And the other thing to consider is you have a massive spawn advantage on this point. So, like, you can play safer on, like, let's say first point where you have a massive spawn disadvantage, but on the final points you can go really aggro, man. Kree is open. You could fire a couple shots at him. And that's what you end up doing. Nice. See? And you get the kill. You're on the angle, you get the kill. If you didn't go up and take the angle, you're just playing ground Pharah. Reinhardt's blocking. And the problem is, like, you're playing the vertical equivalent of a ground Pharah a lot of the times. Because a vertical angle alone above your team will not always lend you the sightlines that you need. You also need those horizontal angles. Not a useful boob. It's not useful, but it's not actually that high of value. But that's not your biggest problem. Please do not do this. You get the kill, but do not push outside of the space you control. Like, oh, never mind. Their team I thought was closer. Never mind, yeah, this is fine. I thought that they had enough people here. I thought that these dudes were on the high ground. Because if they were like all here, then you're pushing outside in space you don't control, but you actually can do this. This is perfectly fine, pushing the limits. Nice boop. I don't know if he got him, but... Nice, look at what you're doing. D.Va just had to fly up to try and stop you. Doom failed. You get the resources poured into you. You're being a carry now. And look, you're on the vertical angle. You're destroying their Ana, who now can't heal her team in the grab. And you're in perfect position to hit the grab. That was beautifully played. Like, the angle doesn't have to be like a feeding angle, but you can be more creative with it, with what you're doing here. Like, push yourself, man.
0 to 2. Ready for battle. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I don't think the mechanical issue is Gio's problem as much. But because like I feel like you've actually been pretty good at landing your rockets in a consistent enough manner for at least Diamond. Your movement is like a little clunky at times, but it's not abysmal. But I think like the biggest issue for you, Gio, is that you're not good at applying your positioning, as far as I can tell. That was kind of just unlucky. I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes in the duels. A lot of people like to roll out here on Pharah. I actually hate this because it's really predictable, and you'll basically always have DPS here or here waiting to just burn you down, and you don't have that much cover unless you hug this really tight, and then you're not actually getting a good angle. I actually prefer going around here and then just concussive across and then open yourself up to right here. Because then you're watching for people who start rotating back, and you can usually get squishies who are rotating down. Or you can shoot people on the high ground, and it's insanely safe too. Because from here, you can just drop right down, and you have a mega on top of just complete cover. And they have to come a million miles through dangerous exposed angles to actually hurt you. So like this is like the kind of angle that you can look for. Like it doesn't have to be like insanely feeding aggro. You can just look for like just some creative spots. Like I was looking for some new angles on Widowmaker earlier for a player on my team, and that I want him to try later. And like you can open things up. Yeah. I 100% agree, Suki. Because like here, the Echo actually doesn't have any way to pressure you. Like I don't think this angle you're taking is wrong. I think it's old-fashioned and a little stiff. Because here, if their Echo is looking at you, it's completely away from the team. Like, this is an angle. I don't think it's the best one on the point, but I'm glad you took it even if you lost. True. Yeah, one of the funniest things I see regularly in scrims and games when I'm reviewing is that people will accidentally have the enemy team put themselves in the position. Like, they'll end up on the off angle accidentally on Kree or something after the enemy team walks past them, and then they toast the enemy team. And I'm like, look, man, you could have just done this from the start. And, like, that's just how it goes sometimes. But, please do not take this duel. You just got destroyed, your Mercy is dead, and there's a 2v1. Their Mercy is stupid, so she's leaving the Echo in the fight, potentially. But, yeah, she's receiving all the resources in the world, and they have a D.Va and an Echo. You just die again. You're feeding! Don't go back in when there's like play dirty, man. Don't go into fights that you're disadvantaged in.
My team needs me.
But yeah, so usually in Overwatch you have, so you always have 3 lanes, right? This is gonna get into like some macro concepts that like Natter likes to use. So you have 3 lanes. You have main, which is always like where the car is going basically. You have left side, and then you'll have right side. And one of the angles is almost always the narrow angle, and one of them is almost always the wide angle. So like this is the narrow angle. It's close to the edge of the map, and there's not that much options. Like you get like a thin angle onto it. This is the wide angle. You have a ton of movement space, and it has sight lines onto where the enemy team is going to be going next. So like on this point, this is the narrow angle. It's on the edge of the map and just pretty enclosed. This is the wide angle, this whole area. So the narrow angle is almost always going to be a lot more limited and a lot less useful than the wide angle. So you will see people literally fighting over the wide angle for control of it. You will rarely see people fighting for the control of the narrow angle. Or here, this is the narrow angle, because it's like very inaccessible and not very useful. This is the wide angle. Has a lot of access to relevant space. So something that you can kind of look for, this is like a pretty advanced thing, but you can look to try and leverage the wide angle a lot more, because it will always be safer too. I can go into another map if you would like, but the thing is if you leverage this wide angle, you're a lot safer and able to get that same flank value. But yeah, if you want me to check out a specific map to show, or I can do it in Rialto where I did a thing. So like, look at this. Like you're just kind of like shooting stuff you're not gonna kill here. When if you were over here, the Ana's open, the Mercy is open. You can pressure the Zarya from a little closer and still be at the Mega, so you're not actually under any danger. Gosh, watching you play Bap and Diamond, that sounds horrible. I kid. You can send a replay sometime if you want. No guarantees on how often I'll be doing stuff because I'm working with the team now, but thank you for the follow, whoever, because I'm watching chat on my mobile phone. I can't actually see. Tyler, welcome. Hello, Grim, or whoever. My phone doesn't show up the notifications till really delayed. Nice, that was a good duel. See, you took the even duel, or actually you had the advantage because you had the Mercy. They didn't, and you won it. You leveraged the fight that had an advantage. That's what I want you doing. And see, it doesn't matter that you're in the open angle now because there's no threats. There's no real pressure on you. Like, yeah, they might have like an Ana shoot you or something, but you have the Mercy pocket. Their Battle Mercy probably isn't good enough to kill you midair. So it doesn't matter that much if you're exposed. Excuse me, where did Doom come from? Look at this weirdo. Look at this weirdo. Look at this weirdo. He put that in a Twitch clip somewhere like the absolute sicko he is. And missed his punch on the Ana and got slept immediately after. This is why Doom rollouts are useless garbage. Because they don't actually reliably get you more value than you would have just gotten if you had just played in main. I guess someone backcapped? Did I skip something? Oh my gosh. That's pretty hilarious. Hey, what's up, Aeon? Yeah, it's been a while. We've been both pretty busy with stuff, so it's good to see you around, man. Yeah, like if you will look at any of the good Doomfists, they are not sitting around going for rollouts. And yeah, it's partially I think because they might be illegal in some pro Overwatch. I don't know if Chipsa was like kidding on that or if they actually are. Either way, there's like it's like I actually just made a Reddit post about this last night about how there will be advice that you get, and some of it will be like basics good for like base learning, but then some of it is going to be such incredibly niche stuff that it just doesn't matter for like 99% of players. Like my illustration was like measured breathing when doing athletic stuff. Like if you're a kid learning how to play soccer, you're not going to need measured and controlled breathing. You're going to need to know how to play the game. So like diagonal punches and stuff and like some basic tech are useful, but I guarantee you that you can get almost all of the character's value without knowing a single rollout. At least a single set rollout. Similarly, ball, you do not need to know or be able to do all the ball tech. Like, I have been able to get to almost masters by playing, by the only tech that I can do is the one where you just roll off the edge of a slope and then slam up back onto it. So if I can get to almost masters on ball doing that, I guarantee you that you do not need to be using a bunch of tech.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Reinhardt.
Don't focus on the Doom. He's not the most dangerous thing. You stopped paying attention, went off the high ground. Poor play. If you had, I think you should have just left the Doom. You could have just landed on this high ground and shot. They don't actually have that much controlling the high ground. The Echo wasn't actually pressuring you right now. Let alone the fact that you could have gone on like a far angle and shot the Ana, and even if she shot back at you, like you're out of Echo and Diva's range to actually damage you realistically. Ana is the only one who's going to be sniping you, and if she's sniping you, she's not supporting her front line. And you could just peek back. You don't need to counter their carry. So there's two options when the opponent has a carry. You either murder the carry DPS, which is what you're trying to do, or you carry just as hard. So here's the problem. You actually didn't kill their carry. Like you tried and you stopped to try and do it, and I respect that, but it doesn't work. Doomfist is actually a very slippery target for Pharah because he moves fast despite his big hitbox, and he survives 2 direct rockets if they're not damage boosted. So I wouldn't recommend trying to counter a Doom and like directly kill him every time because you're going to be playing sloppy while trying to do it. I would much rather you go for equally aggressive positions to what he's doing and just try and destroy his team just as fast as he destroys yours. But we'll see. Man, this song kind of slaps. What is this? Oh wait, this is, wow, okay, this is the start of the playlist again. Nice. Anyways, where was I? Sorry. Oh, that is almost really clean. Oh, unlucky mispredict on the... Man, yeah, see, those were clean mid-airs. That was really nice. I just want to respect that for a moment. Good concussive blast back. Go up on the angle. Nice, yeah, address the Ana. That's fine. You still distracted them for a bit, and that was like looking for the right thing. Yeah, I can look through it real quick tonight then. I'll probably stop in like 30-ish minutes, but that should be enough to cover some.
I am empowered.
Doom is being stupid. You're on the high vertical angle and get good damage. I would just solo barrage the Rhine, but you didn't, and that's probably the better choice. Team invest some ultimates, gets it, fine and dandy. Sorry if this isn't as detailed as you're looking for. I'm at a long weekend, so it's a little scuffed. I would barrage this right away. I believe that their their echo isn't in commission. Where's their echo? Did they copy? Wait, where's their echo? Is this her? Yes. Okay, their echo hasn't entered the field yet. If you barrage from right here, they're gonna have to peek out from a really tight angle to get you, and you can just you can basically just murder Zarya here and win, and your team would be safe in the grab. You could probably also kill a Bean Deity, the Doomfist here. He wouldn't be able to slam you at all because you're just stuck midair. Well, he still would have been able to slam that, but you would have killed him right after because of barraging. You would have killed the Zarya, and now they would only have Rhine, Mercy, and Ana on point. You could dive the Ana. The Rhine would have no support, and I think you would actually just win from there because their Mercy would have to peel up or go for a res, which you could block. This is good too. Oh shoot, I thought you'd get the kill on the Mercy. It's a risky barrage, and I like my earlier one a lot better, but you were looking for the barrage from above, and I'm game. Who's more dangerous? Mercy, Ana, Zarya. Danger drill. Not a rhetorical question. Dangerous to you, specifically. Of course, of course. Well, I don't know if Geo is occupied, but since I'm trying to move... Oh, never mind, I see it. Yeah, so, but I think the Ana is probably the better target here. Yeah, Ana or Zarya, as Lightwave said. The Zarya is technically the most dangerous. Can you realistically kill her? Maybe not. You could shoot a rocket at her to get the supports off of you, and then you could shoot the Ana. But the Ana is probably the squishiest target and the most dangerous to you directly. You wipe out the Mercy, that was beautiful. Now, I hope that you look for the Ana. Yeah, see, she's the one who ends up killing you because she's not addressed. You do get another kill on the Echo, which is fantastic. To once again show that your mechanics are pretty good here. But yeah, I feel like your positioning just needs a lot of fine-tuning. And while this is pretty spur of the moment, so I'm not offering all of the best alternative positions, I think that there's more that could be done. You could have probably gone for a boop on the Zarya earlier. Or saved it, because then you could have dove on the Ana. Focus the Ana. She's more dangerous, man. The Echo is not as dangerous generally as the Ana. Yeah, and this is what I was saying about your movement looking a little stiff sometimes. Huge grab from your Zarya. Yeah, that's very Shirtsuki. Like, that's like always something to consider is that, like, if you stay the same rank, that just means that you're improving at the same speed as everyone else. So if you're dropping, you're just not as improving as fast.
30 seconds remaining.
So I want to see what would have happened if you had gone along the narrow angle on coast, or on here, or if you had gone on the wide angle. So we'll start from 1638 both times. So you're down here, chilling. You're up here. You come close to Ana, land 2 consecutive rockets and kill her. Or maybe just 1, and then she drops. You drop quickly because of Deadeye.
Engaged.
Or no, wait, that was your Deadeye. You don't have to drop at all. You just keep shooting the Ana. You shoot the Zarya bunch. If their Ana looks at you, she's not healing her team, and she's standing still so you can kill her. You're not stuck inside in the church here. Spamming Ana, spamming Ana, spamming their tank line, spamming Ana, spamming their tank line, spamming Ana, spamming their tank line, etc. Shooting their squishies in the grab from here, shooting their Ana, shooting their Mercy, shooting their Zarya, completely safe, undamaged, shooting their Mercy, shooting their Ana, shooting their Zarya. Now let's see what happens from the other side. This one's probably not as good because your Kree went over here, but because you usually don't want to stack your DPS on top of each other, but so you're coming over here. You get forced out by the Echo Mercy. Hopefully you don't die, but maybe you do, which would suck, but
10 seconds remaining.
if you had your Mercy with you, then you definitely wouldn't, but that's not like a coordinated thing. Or no, they're on Lucio now. Shoot the Doom, forced out by the Ana. Yeah, maybe the right angle wouldn't have been the play here, but the left angle definitely would have worked. Or even just aggressively diving the Ana, maybe. Or you could honestly probably play Ground Pharaoh and just go through here and just shoot the Zarya from behind. And I don't think they would be able to get on you quick enough to pressure you. But like, my point is just that there's a lot more options, I think, than you're thinking in general. Yeah, aim and mechanics are like, I've never found myself aim and mechanics can carry poor positioning and knowledge, but only to a point. Like, it falls off as soon as people start taking dirty fights against you, which will be basically anywhere in plat and above. So usually what happens is, to carry yourself from bronze to gold range, it will just be get better aim, don't feed, right? So that's like how you play. Like, you have good mechanics and you don't feed. So that's how you got to plat. But then once you're in like plat to diamond range, a lot of it will be play smarter than the enemy team and then hone your mechanics. So because like I have pretty questionable mechanics, like they're serviceable, but that's it. I was able to get to 2600 on DPS with like a 40% accuracy on McCree or something, mostly being a body shot bandit, and to 3480 on tank. And this wasn't with much time invested either, besides in learning the game. So yeah, it's about taking the smart fights. So Geo, like legitimately though, I would like if you could send me another VOD later this week where you like try as hard as you can to just flank and feed. Yeah, I mean, that's fine, man. But, like, if you just play smarter, you win. Like, I don't know if Aeon is still here. I don't think he is. But he can, if he is still here, he can vouch that I was able to play Ashe in 3K games with scrims against, like, low, like, 3.1 to 3.3 range when I was on 2400 Ashe player. I was able to actually play in a way that kept up with the team, didn't feed, still got value, and even if I wasn't carrying, I was never a detriment. So, like, just with knowing stuff alone, you can play up to almost any SR. But yeah, like, legitimately though, Gio, I would like if you can send me another VOD maybe next weekend or something, where, like, you just go ham on trying to flank. Like, it's okay if you feed a lot. Next code, Lightwise. I'm gonna check your gameplay real quick. Pharah 1v1s are so cool. Like, they are peak Overwatch, I'm just gonna say. I used to be a Pharah main. I was a Pharah main for many seasons. At least in name, if not necessarily in time played. Usually in time played, though. And, such a fun hero. Wait, why do we have the Christmas hat on the Olmas server? Something went terribly wrong. Anyways. Okay. It's 2100 comp, Volskaya, Reinhardt. Played in Oh yeah, I feel that about the mouse dying. I've had that happen a couple times mid-game. Yeah, flying echoes are a pain in the butt to hit. Like, eventually, if your, like, name is Kevster, maybe you can hit them, but... Okay, so I'm probably gonna look at a lot more of your stuff from overhead, because it's easier for me to do faster. But, I'll go in when it, like, matters a lot more. I'll do, what I call a flash and burn play style, which is like the one that I recommended to Spylo, where it's watch the fights and then figure out what went wrong afterwards. Yizan Saudi is insane. So insane. I have so much respect for that dude's raw mechanics. He's gotten #1 on multiple accounts. Like, he just dominates on Pharah. Like, that dude is a genius on that hero, and, like, other players frankly should strive to be as, like, smart with their hero as he is. So right off the bat, where's your kill zone? So as the main tank, you will usually have an integral part in deciding where the kill zone is. So, like, where are you trying to actually engage the enemy team here? Or stop them from moving? Hint, it's in front of you. It's okay. I'm just pushing it because we're rushing a little bit, but so basically the idea is that you want to physically deny spaces, Reinhardt. So you have to consider that wherever you aren't, the enemy team will rotate into, and that includes flanks, that includes angles, that includes main, wherever. So something important here is usually I would play on the bus, like literally on top of it / behind it, because then you have the cover, like the same cover that you have. It's actually better cover than choke, because here you're exposed to like a really thin angle. Here you can kind of just vibe. You're easier for your healers to heal from back here. They can take a more passive angle. and you can actually rotate into either of these sides briefly to stop them from rotating in. So it holds for so much longer. Because the problem with this side is that it's just like holding in like right next to the Icon Wall choke is like, sure, it works if you have like a Mei or something, but the problem is that if you're holding that aggro, you don't actually give your DPS any time to get any angles, because like if they're all here, the DPS can't take any angles on the enemy team. I guess one of your DPS hasn't picked, so it doesn't matter. And the other is a sim who wants to be on the front line anyways. But I would recommend playing here so that they can't just rotate in around through here and then up to here, or even just through here. Like, because then as soon as they start to play in here, you get pinched away from your enemy team and you're put in an awkward situation. Yeah, I use a wireless mic, like, or wireless mouse. I've actually been really happy with it, but I do have to watch out for the battery. But yeah, I'm not going to look at like fire strikes and shield management and stuff. I'm assuming it's probably fine. So now you're rotating into here. Beautiful. This is really nice. Zen fed. He took 2 aggro of an angle. Keep holding bus. Yep, you abandon your position at bus. And now the rest... I don't care that their Ryan charged through here. You can forget about that. What you could have been focusing on is you still probably had some time to swing here. Your other DPS, I think, only just picked still. Where is he at? Yeah, your other DPS just picked still. And, yeah, basically the goal would be to trade the backline, because your backline is screwed / not even there. Zarya just got charged off into Narnia. This is your time to just try for a clutch and say, screw it, we're going in balls deep, because, like, there's nothing you can do here, basically, except just try and murder their backline so that you can recontest. Because, like, while you're going in here, you're giving these guys positioning in choke and letting them rotate in for free, and you're actually not doing anything to check the Reinhardt or their Tracer. So now what probably happens is you get slapped around by their BAP from behind or something. Or even worse, you go into the mini because you're low, and then get cornered. So that was kind of unlucky, compounded by 2 CP. Your Zen took a stupid angle, you didn't have a DPS. That just how it goes sometimes. So there's not much I can say there, unfortunately.
Objective lost.
Here,
Objective B.
nice, you're at box. That's my favorite spot to position. I'm trying to think if there's a better new age Reinhardt position here. Don't listen to other players. I hate to say it, but if you think you need to trust your own judgment, and if your judgment isn't good enough to trust it over other players, then you need to improve your own judgment. Like, absorb more of Spylo's stuff by osmosis, ask more questions outside of the game, whatever. Work at getting your own judgment to the point where you don't need to listen to other players. You can agree with them, that's fine. Especially in a team, you'll need to like have high understanding and talk to each other and have a like be on the same page. But don't let them micromanage your gameplay. Like, if they need help, the best way you can help them is by winning the fight. You gotta trust your instincts at times like that. I struggled so much with that. That was probably my biggest nemesis in Overwatch, is listening to teammates too much, and it still probably is my biggest struggle. Because I'd be playing something like Ryan, or like, well, people would ask for me to play Ryan, I would play him, even though I don't usually like playing him that much. And then they would ask for like all sorts of stupid stuff, or be like, why are you on this corner instead of this one? I'm like, chill, I know what I'm doing better than you know what I'm doing. And like, that's the goal, is that you need to know what you're doing better than your team, because your team is probably never going to know what you're doing. So trust that you know. Pushing up into cover here, even if you're bubbled, is kind of scary. I don't love that. Because you're going to get fried really quickly as Ryan. You're playing really close to choke. It kind of scares me. It's a little bit okay because you have the sim, but I don't really like it because you're not leveraging your soldier much here. Because like if you're here and you're just keeping them in choke, what's probably going to happen is they're going to farm up Grav and then just go for really aggro rush play with beat and Grav, or no, they don't beat Vulcan Grav. But if you play back here, you're going to have a little more cover. You can open things up for your soldier. You can still rush into pressure if you need a little bit, but it's not like super aggro. And your Zarya has like a couple more coverage options. So like think about the benefits of the corners you're taking pretty carefully here. The benefit of this angle, of course, is that you're denying their DPS any angles. But then that's actually kind of moot, because if they were smart, they could just take here. Like, I don't know what the heck their Widow is doing sitting in main. Does she actually even have any sightlines? Yeah, no, she's just a garbage Widow player. If she just grappled up to here and had good aim, dead, dead, dead. Triple kill. If you were Ons, if you were playing Ons, you would do that. And you'd probably get the sim too. Now, this Widow is definitely not Ons. And their Tracer definitely isn't Striker, who could also probably could just blink over to here and like duel the Zen or something. But yeah, you're playing a Zen soldier. You're playing a lot spammier. You want to play it slow so that you can leverage those picks. And look at how much damage you're taking here. Like, this is like, you don't get as much rest period when you're playing the close corner. Zen fed again, took a bad angle. Yeah, so the pacing is kind of tricky, especially when you get into hybrid comps. I won't lie. There's probably still more that I have to learn on it, because it's like a constantly evolving understanding thing. Because Overwatch is a game of pressure and space, and therefore is a game of positioning and timing, and pacing is basically your positioning and timing tied into one concept, if that makes sense. So it's a very difficult overarching concept. My light version that I would use is the more spammy heroes that you have, the slower the pace you want to play, because you have more resources over time with spam damage and like Zen's orb and stuff, while heroes like Moira or whatever have very bursty cooldowns. So like the longer your cooldowns are, generally the faster you'll want to play. The physically faster that you can move, generally the faster you'll want to play. Trying to think of but basically the idea is that if you can have, so you have 3 phases in a fight. You have the poke phase, which is like spamming and prepping, and then you have the engagement phase, when you're closing the distance, because eventually you will close the distance to reliably get shots and kills, and then or to clean up, and then you have the brawling phase. So the idea with the speed and pacing is that, you know, I'm gonna turn off my music for a second so I can think about this more thoroughly. The idea is that if you have a comp that's stronger in the poke phase, you want to leverage that advantage for as long as you can, right? You're doing more damage to them from a range. They are not damaging you. You can save their resources. And then if they ever want to engage, they're going to need to find some way to get to you without burning all their resources. Does that make sense, that first step? I mean, I'm going to go part by part here. So then from there, if you have a composition that's really good at engaging, you're going to want to skip the poke phase and go straight to the engagement phase, because then you can engage faster than and like enter that brawling phase faster than they can poke you out. So that's why spam comps are really strong against poke comps, because they can reduce that poke phase and then uh, quickly press that brawling advantage. Does that part make sense? Yeah, exactly. And then a composition in the brawling phase will basically look to get up close and clean things up. So if a team is trying to rush into the brawling engage with a dive comp, that's why dive doesn't actually do that well against brawl, is you're rushing in rapidly to close the distance and enter this brawling phase, but then you're running into a brick wall that has a lot more brawling power than you. So it doesn't matter if you're slower in terms of like moving and getting around to them, you will lose. So in that case, you actually have to play slower on the dive comp to work around the brawl comp, because you have to play for whatever little bits of poke damage you have. So you're like, it's a really, really complicated dynamic. But like the shorthand is that the more ranged damage you have, the slower you'll want to play to leverage it. And the faster you can engage, the faster you will want to engage to leverage that and minimize it. Yeah. The reason, so you'll see almost completely hybrid comps now in general, like even like the Rhine, Diva, Bap, Mei, Kree, Lucio is actually like a spam and brawl hybrid with the Kree, Mei, and Bap. It's because it gives you a lot more flexibility in the win conditions, and you can play at different paces. So like that brawl line versus a Reaper sim comp can play a lot slower with the Mei and Kree and brawl, or Mei, Kree, and Bap, and like just sit there spamming with the Mei and Kree and burning resources, and then engage into the brawling phase with an advantage. Or if they're facing a dive comp, they can actually engage faster than the dive comp and just run into them because they have more brawling power immediately. So it's like, it's a really complicated concept, and it's a lot more in the coaching field of things and like theory than the play. But like, it's something that you have to get a feel for as like a really high ranked player. So usually, and it's a lot more for coordinated teams too, because you often can't control the pacing in ladder. But basically the idea is leverage your team's win conditions. If your win condition is getting close to them and beating them up quickly, get up close to them and beat them up quickly. If your win condition is spamming, spam. Like give them the space and let them get the angles. If you have a mix like you do now, you can do either. But then the best spot is to try and find somewhere where you can do both. It's like, right, if you're playing full spam, you might actually be back here on Rhine, and then you'd have like a Hanzo here, a Zen here, and a Soldier here or something. But because you're playing this hybrid, you can kind of pick this middle ground, because then you're close enough for your Sim and Zarya to leverage your damage, and you're here too. But then it's also open enough that if your Soldier wanted to go here, he could, or your Zen could have sightlines here or here. So like, try to play in places where you can best leverage your team's assorted win conditions is my best advice, if that makes sense. So yeah, your team can't really support your aggro that well, because like this doesn't really give you any good retreat path. It's like here you can retreat into the mega if you need, or back to point because you have this piece of cover. But yeah, it's a really, really complicated concept. The dude who I've heard who taught me basically all of it from something he made is Coach Thor, who worked with SureCold recently. He made a massive slideshow about basically all of the macro fundamentals, and it's like the Bible of macro for Overwatch. Like, it's insane, and it's like kind of hard to apply all of it in theory from it, because like he talks in like very theoretical stuff sometimes. But It's a super useful resource. Yeah, I'll throw it down in my Discord. I keep it bookmarked at all times. It's a long slideshow, but I would recommend going through it if you have the time ever. So basically, your team is probably going to get routed because now you're out of the way and they can enter the space. Soldiers feeding. I wouldn't go for swings here. I would just shield bot, stall for time, because you don't have reliable healing resources. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about the macro guide. If you get the chance to take a look for it, I can probably try my best to explain some of it. But yeah, I've read through it a couple times, and it's basically the basis of 90% of my macro knowledge that Spylo has confirmed is solid. So now you're still playing close, but this is a little better now because your soldier's playing close too. And while it's not the best hero for playing close, it's just where he is, and you have the Mei. So I still feel like you could play back here and it would just be equally valuable, but it's not a major issue or like as much of an issue because your team is like more equipped to play up this close, and you have the BAP too for more brawling power. I actually prefer holding this corner a little bit because your healer can have a more passive sightline here and not be exposed to the Widow and still heal you. And then you stack with your DPS a little bit, but you also can move a little further back for a little more cover. That's a really hard thing. All I can do, yeah, it's, wait, hold up. No, sorry, I had to just get them off the curtains. They're not supposed to be up there because they poop on the curtains sometimes. Okay, where was I? Right, team awareness. So it's a mix of prediction and like self-scouting. So like with self-scouting, I just mean like glancing around to where people are, and then like reading where they are, where they'll be, general zones and stuff like that. You probably won't know exactly where they are, but in an organized teams, people will say if they're with you or where they are, or you will know where they should be. But in ladder, it's hard to say. Then the other part is prediction, is you assume that they will be in a certain position based on where they were or based on just how the hero plays. Like I will assume that my Ana is back here most of the time or up here. So if I glance back and see them at a position, I assume they'll stay around here and just play in that sightline. If I see my soldier here or over here, go like running around over here, I'll predict that he's going to be around here vaguely. So you have like it's kind of a conundrum on main tank, and it's a really difficult struggle, but yeah, it's harder the higher SR you try and go because, well, no, it's like a bell curve. Because in bronze, you basically can't predict where anyone will be. Or actually, no, it's more like a sine wave. So at bronze, you can't predict where anyone will be. At like silver and gold, you can predict that everybody will just be behind you. In like diamond and masters, people start doing like weird flanks and stuff, and you're usually not used to it. So it's harder to predict because people will be like more on off angles and stuff. And then at GM, things actually become really predictable because people should always be in like a near optimal position. True, they are sickos, but predictable sickos. Generally. Yeah, they will also communicate where they are more, so it's easier to know where your team is and stuff. So it's like obviously not a perfect mental graph, but yeah, basically that. So generally what I'd recommend is just try to just glance around every so often, like before a fight. If you're in a position where you can't glance around, like where you are right now because you're in danger, you're probably in the wrong position. Like, you would back up to here, glance around, check where people are. You would be here, turn around, glance where people are, check for positions, etc. It's like checking your rearview mirrors when driving. Like, you check, see if there's a car behind you, go along with your business. Not a good shatter, because your team can't follow up on it. Yeah, you might be able to, but I guarantee you will die if you try to follow up on this, because this is like an unfair fight. You would be entering a 2 or 3 versus 6 fight here. Okay, miracles happen. Your team follows up really quickly, faster than I thought they could. Good on them. This illustrates the concept of, if a whole team does a stupid thing, it's not a stupid thing anymore. It's a strategy. So it's okay because your team had the hustle and covered for you. But I would hope that you wouldn't charge in if your team wasn't in spots where they could rush in with you, because that was like incredibly risky, to be honest. And now you need to reset your positioning, so you're gonna get caught out. Yep, Zen is caught out. You're still not backing up. This is kind of scaring me. Yep, you guys are caught out in a bad position again because of it. Ryan misses his charge somehow. You miss your charge as well. I relate to that on a spiritual level. I would just play here and try and slow them down. See, beautiful kill. That's what I meant by like trading the backline, is you don't always have to just be going in front of their Rhine unless he has shatter. You can actually kind of rotate around him and do stupid stuff, and then even better is you can actually now charge him, because if he turns around to charge you, he's turning his back to a Zen and Bap and Zarya at full charge, and if he doesn't turn to charge you back, you will just charge him into your enemy team where you're safe and put him out of position. It's beautiful. This is the new age Reinhardt gameplay, I'm just going to tell you. Playing creative, especially on high grounds and like clearing flanks and stuff, and being willing to make ballsy plays. Unlucky. But see, it's still fine. You're with your team, now you're back in position, and their Rhine didn't do anything. And like, see, your team is completely fine with you just chilling here, because you had enough advantage in the fight that you could just chill bot and play it safe. Don't let them clutch and you're good. That was a good blizzard from your Mei. Yeah, charges are pain. I somehow miss every charge. That is that is feeding. Don't leave space that's out of your control. You don't control this space. It's neutral space, and especially when there's like 2 or 3 people here, it's just foolish. Like, what are you gonna do with this space? Can you buy a drink with it? Get a sandwich? Like, it doesn't earn you anything. It doesn't get you any advantage in the fight. Even if you kill the 1 McCree, it's gonna buy you maybe 10 more seconds. And yeah, it probably won't matter because you have the better respawn advantage. But unless you can realistically get the kill, and like that kill is valuable enough, true, one way ticket to spawn. Yeah. Be weigh the consequences of pushing into unowned space very carefully. I would rather have you miss the chance to get a stagger by pushing into uncontrolled space and instead just play it chill than go into uncontrolled space and feed. Like, it's like a high risk, low reward thing. So you have to like check and watch carefully for if it's a high risk, high reward situation. Yeah, no man's land is bad. Because it's, once again, that you're in a fair fight at best. You want unfair fights in your favor, especially on defense. Mei was stupid. Their Rhine feeds. That is a terrible charge. But your Zarya carries with Graph. Here's my my charge handbook. don't ever let it end up in a situation where the enemy team is between you and your team. So what you can do is you can charge across the enemy team's front line to land in a place where the enemy team is like here, you're here, and your team is here. Because that's fine. You can still receive your team's support, you can still back up to your team. But as soon as you charge through the enemy team, that's when it becomes a problem, because then you can't receive that support anymore, and Ryan doesn't do well independently. If you're behind them and charge into your team, that's also fine, because then you're with your team. Or even charging from behind to adjacent to your team, to like here, that's also fine. But never let the enemy team get between you and your team. Like, that's a really dangerous play unless it's communicated. Because like you can shatter from behind, for example, and that's fine. But hold on. Parakeet's on the curtains again. You can charge from behind, like you can shatter from behind them or whatever, but you can often just shatter from the side and still get back to your team. Because especially if it's not that well communicated and you don't know for sure that your team is gonna push in, it's really risky to do anything directly behind your team. But yeah, big trance, big rev. You're pushing into no man's land again, you don't control that space out there. You also have shatters, so you don't actually need the poke anymore either. Kill box, kill box, kill box. Where is your kill box? Where are you planning to kill? Nice block. Backing up is a good choice here, but you do need to help your Mei get out safely. Nice counter shatter. Beautiful. That was really well played. Yeah, you're positioning down many major errors here. I would just be nitpicking. That was an awful BAP wall from your BAP.
60 seconds remaining.
Tyler, I believe in you. Make GM in a week easy. So now you're playing the back corner. Make sure you're holding your corner discipline. It's kind of hard because this corner is really wide, but we'll see how it goes, I guess. Unlucky. You probably needed to countercharge that. Build it up as a reflex. That was a good pin. Unlucky. But the best you could make from the situation. I think you really just need to land the counter charge on him there. What is this? What is this trance? Your team had plenty of time on the clock.
10 seconds.
But see, this is what I mean about letting your team leverage its strengths, is look at the spam comp working like a spam comp does. Mei is over here spamming, gets in a weird position and freezes. Zarya is spamming because she's at high charge. Zarya can actually spam. She's like a brawl spam hybrid hero. Zen is spamming from the side while protected. Bap is spamming. Beautiful. So now it's just a question of how you fit back into this. Charge in, whatever. It's good that the Mei walled. And your job is just to protect against the most dangerous thing. In this case, it's nobody. You just swing and pray. Probably on the Rhine. Nobody's touching that BAP. That BAP is gonna win the game. This BAP is literally gonna clutch the fight for the enemy team. Oh my gosh. Good job waiting for a teammate. I do not like charging in. You could have just walked in, and I think you still would have touched in time, and you would just burn your shield and then gone for a shatter. I still don't think it would change anything, but... Yeah, +1 on don't listen to your teammates. Know for yourself.
Score 0.
guys hustled to point. Hold up. TP, okay. It's a weird oh, so someone disconnected. Were they a lever or a disconnect? Do they come back later? Oh, a lever. That's unlucky. Or a long disconnect, even if it wasn't.
Attackers incoming.
I mean, I'll still watch one quick go on it, because there's like a little bit you can do, but... I would drop down to here. Or to... Yeah, no, I'd drop down to here. Because the whole idea with Ryan is you want to prevent them from getting angles on you. So if you drop down here, like most Ryan players do, the problem is that you'll always have people looping around here to come like bash you and smack you from behind. And you'll always have people coming from here to shoot you. So usually you would want to rotate around here, technically, is what I would do. But obviously people don't do that. So on ladder, you can just say drop on coast, and like maybe there's a chance that people will listen and not be stupid, and you can toe the corner and it'll probably go a lot better. Yeah. Like like one of my most common phrases for basically anyone is always, 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 regardless of your hero, be on the outside of the fishbowl. If you are in the fishbowl, you are in the danger. Because, like, this sim, as soon as the Ryan comes here, they are now in the fishbowl. This is Zarya too. See, surrounded. In the fishbowl. This is danger. They're probably gonna die. This Zen, outside the fishbowl. You, outside the fishbowl. If you had a tracer here, this would be outside the fishbowl. It's all, like, relatively fine. But you never want a damage or pressure source that you can't have in your vision. If there's a damage source coming from somewhere that you can't see, there's something critically wrong with your position. You're either exposed to too many angles, like you're in, like if you're right here, and I'm shooting at their Zarya, and then I die to like, or like if they have an Ashe here, let's say, shooting here, and then I send a Widowmaker like on a flank, and then they get shot from behind, they let themselves end up in the fishbowl because they're in way too like wide of an angle. Instead, if they had just played here, they would have had similar sight lines without being exposed. This works for tanks, this works for supports, this works for flankers, this works for snipers. Never let yourself get surrounded. It's probably like the #1 basic rule. Zen ended up inside the fishbowl. Tracer flanked him. Now you're in the fishbowl. Ryan and Zarya's on you. But hey, you killed the Ryan, so now you're out of the fishbowl again. But your sim and the rest of your team is still in really scrappy situations. That was actually really, really well played. Close off the fishbowl. The point can wait. You need to close out one of these angles ASAP. And you don't have resources, so I would probably just try and back up into the BAP and pray somehow. I don't think there's actually any way that you can win this because they have a complete 180 angle on you with between this Ashe and BAP now. But so like that's just like an illustration of the map control. But yeah, I'll probably leave it at that unless there's any other moments in this attack that you want me to look at, since I don't know if there's anything worthwhile else with the person gone. Yeah, that's just sometimes how it goes. That's just like something you pick up with experience. My allergies have been kicking in these past couple of days with springtime stuff. Do you guys get the point out of curiosity? Oh, you guys do get the point. That's intriguing. But I don't think there's a way. I genuinely don't think. The only way that you can win the only way that you win a 2 CP attack 5v6 on the second point is if you literally stack all 5 of your ults. Or have some phenomenal clutch play. Like it just, it's like the odds are so low, so I would just assume it's lost from that point. But yeah, 5v6s are pretty winnable, especially on first points. Is impressive. You guys get 2 ticks? Damn, that's actually really good on you guys. Well played. I don't even have to see it, and I know that there was probably some solid play there. There was probably a lot of mistakes too, but unless you really want me to go over it, I'll probably call it. For your biggest thing to work on, I would say think about where you, like, what corner you want to take to leverage your comp. Because, like, even here, you have front corner for, like, hard brawl, mid corner for, like, a mixed comp, back corner for, like, a full spam comp. Like, think about, like, Orisa positioning, Reinhardt positioning, kind of. And you would still play the Orisa positioning as Reinhardt if you were playing with, like, a full spam comp besides yourself. But, or you maybe would play, like, no, yeah, you'd basically play the Orisa positioning still. But, I think that multiple times I saw where you didn't, like, have a decisive feeling about where you're playing. And, like, as a main tank, that's one of the most important things, is you have to know what you're doing. If I'm on ball, I can't just slam people outside of here and do nothing. I have to, like, actually decide that I'm going to push them in so that my DPS have sightlines on them. Or I'm going to wait here, let them rotate in, push them onto point where my DPS have sightlines. If I'm on Reinhardt, I specifically want to hold here so that my DPS can get some sightlines, but then also keep them from rotating in. If I'm on Orisa, I want to play back here so I can get that poke advantage and play slowly, and then rotate into the Mega Room when I have issues, right? So, like, think about where you're playing as Reinhardt and what your team, like, is actually going to do to win, and then try to play to match that. And then I want to take a quick look at one of my games real quick. This is going to be like a 10-minute thing since I'm probably going to head out soon. But as a game I was going to look at on Friday until my Wi-Fi was literally gone all day. So.
Think you can keep up with me?
My positioning here was bad. I was too separated from the team. I like this positioning a lot for Sigma, especially if you have support. But then the problem is, if the enemy team just hard rushes you or the other side, you can't actually, like, this is like the 180 rule with Reinhardt, is that you can't be directly across from your team unless you're a self-sustaining hero. So I'm not a self-sustaining hero on Diva. Even on Sigma, it's a little dubious. So I kind of have to, I should have played probably here, like, really passively, or like peeking out here when they got close, because the kill zone should have been first corner. My matrix usage was abysmal on this whole map. Sigma, so the problem is, even with the boosters, I can fly to up here, but I'm still in range of damage, and I'm still out of position for the amount of time. With Sigma, he's able to take less damage because of his shield, so he actually can put out a lot more pressure without support. So, like, right here, I could be just hammering on this Widow without taking any damage, and because he has longer range, and then, like, hammer this Reinhardt, and they would have to actually, like, put the full resources of the team to drive me out. Like, I guarantee you that unless a tank went on me, I could survive, and I could probably even survive their monkey, because I'm a good Sigma. But, and their monkey probably wasn't that good. But then, of course, the problem is, if their tank line is on me, that means they're not on my team. But if my team doesn't do anything while they have that opening, then I'd just be feeding. So that's why I don't actually love this position on ladder. I think it's good in theory, but it doesn't really work out in practice all the time. Because, see, I'm already at a half HP, and while I'm holding off this high ground, which is nice, I'm not actually, like, doing that much. And I get out safely, see, but my team somehow already won their front line, but it just didn't do that much. Like, it wasn't terrible, and I was safe, but I just didn't accomplish much. So now I'm on the high ground off angle. Now I'm in main because there's no one on angles. Eventually I think I swapped to Sigma because against double sniper, D.Va can't usually close the distance. I think I fed there. I think I ended up in the fishbowl. Yeah, our Ryan goes in really aggro. So I decide that I should go in with him if I remember right. Right here, I should have flown to here instead, because I would have had a better idea of what I was matrixing, and I wouldn't have ended up in the fishbowl. It would have been a little longer, but I think it would have been worth it, because then I'd have a clear retreat path out if things got sweaty. But I fly in here, and then I'm exposed to these dudes while I try to kill the Reinhardt, and I was like, there's an illustration of how you die in the fishbowl. See, I fly into the middle of the enemy team and basically feed my brains out. Oh my gosh, what is our Ryan doing? Oh yeah, our Ryan was really bad this game. I swapped to Monkey at several points because of it. This is fine, I'm just stalling card. There, Ryan has a good flank play. Our sim feeds. My bomb placements have historically been really bad. I think I should have waited a little longer until they were here, because then they wouldn't have I maybe could have placed it a little better then. Or while they were doing more things. I don't know. I don't mind my positioning here. Killed the low health Ryan. Now I'm just feeding, I should just get out. Yeah, I don't have enough range to do anything there, I just need to get out. Their team was staggered and split, so we lose the fight because we don't have enough people. I don't know, I invested Co. Well, looked at it a little bit. I don't want my brains oozing out my ears, and I feel like I'm pretty close to that point. Just because I probably need sleep. I don't even... Do I have classes tomorrow? Let's check my almighty planning book that I just started using again, finally. Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Ha! I don't have accounting class tomorrow. Nice. I think I'm gonna call it a stream. Thank you, people who came. I appreciate the audience and small squad chilling. Hopefully, some of the review stuff will be good or useful. I'm probably gonna get some sleep. Yeah, I think that's basically it. If you have any questions about anything I talked about or just in general, feel free to just drop them in my Discord at basically any point. I'd be happy to answer them. And yeah. Let me click my fancy online ending screen.